have the vision of what it is you're trying to create and what message you're trying to spread and what soul of your business you're trying to share, you're not going to pocket that money, because pocketing that money is not any of those three things I just mentioned.
That's right.
Right? The reason why people don't do the right thing is because it's fucking exhausting. But you know what's way more exhausting? Is picking up the pieces of shit that you break by not doing the right thing.
Because we've mentioned that, I gave up drinking for a year. And after that year of drinking, it was like so abundantly clear to me, like, oh, I don't have to do things that make me feel like shit.
So if my people don't feel personally empowered to make creative decisions, I have slaves. I don't have teammates, and that's not what we're about. That's not what we're after. Woo! Welcome back, baby.
Man.
Find another zero with Jack, producer extraordinaire. My friend, remind you your name again.
Jake
is producer.
Co-producer
behind the laptop.
Extraordinaire.
Bart Pietrzak, owner, CEO of Project Power Gym that you see behind us. Extraordinaire Gym. Legion.
Damn right.
All right. Dude, it's been a long fucking time. You've leveled up.
Leveled up, man.
I want to hear all about it, because one of the best things about this podcast and one of my favorite thing about the podcast is the journey at which it occurs in real time.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
talk about real shit in the real fucking time, and it's not like 15 years ago when I built my shit. Like, this is the lessons you should learn. Like, what the fuck did you learn right now? So tell me what the fuck you've learned right now, bro.
Yeah, well, so it's been, I don't know, a few months probably since the last one we did.
I don't remember, but it's been a long time.
It's been a long time since the last one we did, and that was just because, I'd gotten to such a workload that, we talked and you gave me the grace of like, yeah, I get it. You need to go out and fucking do some shit. And so,
yeah, man.
So I've been out fucking working my ass off, working my dick off, and yeah, just new clients coming in. I'm starting to hire people on, and
how many people?
How many clients?
How many workers?
I've got full-time. Jake over here is full-time, and then I've got a contractor that's doing like a significant, a full-time worker's wage.
Yeah.
Whatever, doing that amount of work. And then so now this is where we're starting to go over, working on getting some contractors to start taking care of some editing, and that frees up time for me to go out and sell, because we're building out the infrastructure of the business. And now we're actually putting systems in place, but building the structure, to now where I can handle it. And so because that was like one of the biggest takeaways that I had from talking with you at first was, oh, should I go out and do marketing? It's like, well, would I be able to handle any of that marketing if I even did it? And no, the answer was no. And so now we're at a place where we can do that, I guess.
Hermosi had a phenomenal I saved it on my phone, this little video. And he's the most animated I've seen him. Like, he's very like calm, cool, collected, talking about lessons and shit. But in this video, he's fucking just intense. And he goes, the first 1, 3, 5 years of a business, he goes, I don't even try to make a profit. I just try to create systems and procedures in place that produces the service and that produces the result that I'm after to a T. And then he goes, and then the profit just fucking comes because the thing just keeps growing on its own. It's organically gonna fucking grow because you create, like we talked about when you were asking that question. I'm like, your people will sell this shit for you if you give them something that's worthy of discussion. And you won't have to market, right? Market is to throw fuel on the fire. But if your fire isn't fucking burning, there's no fuel to throw anything on.
That's right.
Right? And most people fuck that up because of desperation, because of fear, because they got bills to pay, because they got mouths to feed if you have people working for you. And it's a very difficult task for a leader to look his staff in the face and say, we are going to struggle for the next 1 to 5 years on purpose. The raises won't be high. The profits won't be much. The nights will be long. Right? That is not a fucking sell, especially in today's day and age. That is not something you can sit someone down and someone just organically goes, that sounds fucking awesome. Sign me up. Because I could be doing that, working my dick into the dirt for 5 years, or I can sell my feet on Feet Finder and make 18 times the amount of money. You know, like that. Those are the options now. So tell me, how the hell are you selling that vision to have people work their dick into the dirt for 5 years?
Well, first things first is I'm gonna lead by example. I mean, that's numero uno. Number two, as far as selling the vision goes, it's, you know, we have something that is fucking important to the world, I believe. Like, I've got every show that we have, and this was, I don't know, we discussed this a little bit, but every show I have is one that I'm proud of and that I'm proud to be putting out into the world, and I'm thinking this message is going to fucking actually do, you know, this is an important message, and this is important. So when it comes to, you know, talking about this with Jake, it's constant reminders of that for both him and myself, doing that. And then, you know, we're growing. I mean, you see the growth. So even if you don't see the monetary growth right away, we are seeing, okay, this is proof of theory. This is actually working out, and we're actually making progress.
Dude, and like the attention that you need to have as the leader of that organization, it needs to be an understanding of, for example, you saw my Halloween decorations, right? I got, you know, a $300 doorman. I got a $400 20-foot fucking scarecrow.
That thing's sick.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's sick.
All these decorations, right? When you go, we're not making money. Like, I made enough money to buy the decorations, right? And you go, that's a stupid. Like, if you have an extra $1,000, like, what a dumb thing to spend $1,000 on is decorations for the fucking gym. But if you have the vision of what it is you're trying to create and what message you're trying to spread and what soul of your business you're trying to share, you're not going to pocket that money, because pocketing that money is not any of those three things I just mentioned.
That's right.
Right? So when I developed a business that is revolving around people and the connection to people and the service of people and the growth of people and the progress of people, it needs to be personal. And what we talked about before the podcast aired is, you know, I've been a guy who's grinded his dick into the dirt. You know, I was a piece of shit, and then there's a day, and then I was not only not a piece of shit, but I was the exact opposite of like the most hardworking, diligent, responsible, mature motherfucker on the planet, right? It was like a night and day difference. And I didn't celebrate birthdays. I didn't give a fuck about holidays. Sundays didn't exist. Like, I didn't want to hear any of that shit. And you agreed. And you're like, you know, a man shouldn't celebrate his own birthday after the age of 21.
Yeah.
When you're trying to share personal shit, personal involves the heart and the soul and that's special. And that specialty is how you make things personal. And if you're dealing with people, that's the only communication you can have. So where everyone else sees $1,000 spent on stupid Halloween decorations, what I see is that memory when you were in 5th grade and you walked in the first day of class and your fucking room was all decked out in Halloween shit. You just fucking got lit, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's coming, bro.
Yeah.
I evoked that same shit coming into this gym without you knowing, subliminally, because it's exciting. It's different. You walking into a space that you walk into every day, you notice the differences. And when that difference is geared toward your enjoyment, which how else do you describe Halloween decorations other than the enjoyment of the people observing them? You feel that personality. And then this place comes alive and it shows its soul and it shows its joy and its fun. You connect to that and you go, this is not a corporate fucking no-face thing that's just trying to grab my money out of my pockets. This is a living, breathing place. And when you're with your own staff, there's going to be versions of that you're going to do that when you connect the dots like I just did, it invigorates everybody more than $1,000 in their pocket ever could. And without that shit, you will never grow anything large enough to make a difference. Because the goal will always be putting $1,000 in your pocket. Well, guess what? Right now, you can go to a fucking shirt producer and make a cajillion Kamala Harris funny shirts and a kajillion Trump shirts and sell that shit on Amazon and make lots of thousands of dollars and change no lives whatsoever.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So if our goal is to make money. Everybody's goal is to make money. But our goal to make money never supersedes the process of doing the right thing, sharing your soul, connecting to humans, and changing a life. You know what I'm saying? And being very clear on that, because you may get that. Like I get that, obviously, because I'm the one that did it. But if I don't explain that shit to my team, what they see is I wasn't able to pay my cable bill, and this stupid motherfucker just spent $1,000 on Halloween decorations. And then they create resentment because you didn't discuss it, you didn't explain it, you didn't paint the vision, you didn't show how Halloween decorations will help them make enough money to pay their bills. Because if we took every $1,000 out to pay all our bills every single fucking time that we could, this place would be stagnant.
Right.
There would be no growth, there would be no connection, there would be no difference.
So does this look like you literally communicating that and saying this out loud, or is it to your staff, very directly? What does that look like?
What this looks like is I didn't tell anybody I was doing any of it. I just bought a bunch of shit one day, brought it all in and set it up. And the staff like laughs and they go, "What the fuck are you doing, Bart? You're an idiot." It's like I make fun of myself. Like there's this joyness that I have when I do this type of stuff and they're just observing me just having a great fucking time doing it. And we laugh at it, we laugh at me, I laugh at myself. And then as that laughter starts dying down, I lay that fucking law down. I let them know in that moment why. And I don't care if there's acknowledgement. I don't care. I don't sit there and go, "Do you understand?" I don't make it like a serious fucking thing where I have to sit. Yeah, we're having a meeting and let me explain to you why I'm doing these Halloween decorations. But when I communicate that at the time, everyone kind of gets quiet because they get it. And whether they acknowledge they get it or they don't, they got it. Same thing, like I'm getting all of this from being a dad because it's the same thing. I don't need my daughter to say, "Yes, sir," when she observes me doing something and then me explaining to her why I did it. I don't need to sit there and be like, "Okay, Mika, like this is why daddy did this, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But I know she saw me. I know I talked about it. And I know now it's in her mind of this is just how things are. And that organicness is what keeps things alive organically in their minds so they duplicate it. Because if it becomes this forced thing where I go, "You have to do it this way," because I lose the luster of creativity from their side.
Yeah. What's understood doesn't need to be explained.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, listen, there's the problem with leadership, I think, is when you become too analytical with it, it loses its leadership it's a personal thing. It's person to person. You are literally leading people. And whether those people are analytical or not, if you become too programmatic, that's not a word, but I just made it up.
Fucking sick word.
You get it though. Doesn't need to be explained because it's understood.
It's understood.
you nice. Disengage the personal connection of themselves to the information. When you got dictated notes in school and you just had to regurgitate the notes back, you didn't take any personal pride in any of the notes that you took. You didn't take the information as important to you. You just go, "This person thinks it's important, so I have to memorize them in case they ask me what the information is." But if the teacher got engaging with you and had a conversation about a topic, you learned about that topic. And then at any point, that topic would come up and you'd have all the information you ever would need without having to memorize anything. Now, was it the exact sentence that was dictated to you? No. But the concept was there. And so it can be duplicated in your own personal way, which if you're leading a team has to be the case. I am not the guy who runs every department. I am the guy who supports every department to run themselves. Otherwise, I'm working for my own business instead of, owning my own business.
Yep.
So if my people don't feel personally empowered to make creative decisions, I have slaves. I don't have teammates, and that's not what we're about. That's not what we're after. So, yeah, I think it's important for anybody who's leading any sort of team, whether that be your sports team at school or whether that be your business or a management team, like whatever. I think that's an important thing. Because even if you have very strict procedures, which you should have, should have very strict procedures and standards. You can't have robots because then you're going to get so frustrated at those one-off situations that are called opportunities. They're going to get squabbled because the person can't think on their feet. The person can't engage an opportunity organically because it doesn't fit into your procedure list.
Do you think that you can scale this this feeling of not being robots to 100 Project Power gyms? Is that like something that you see? Okay, if I were to go about doing this, how would you do that?
Yeah, that's a constant thought process because location number 2 should have happened a day after I opened location number 1, right? That's always the goal, is as soon as you possibly can. So it would be it's easy the larger you get to become more and more robotic, because I don't have to actually listen to you. I don't actually have to care about you. I don't actually have to understand you. You have to understand what I want you to do, and that's fucking it. And then I can do what's called quality control. So a couple of my leaders and I had a sit down with them, and I discussed at length the difference between a quality control person and a manager or a coach. Massive difference. Quality control person is not there to make anybody better. They are what I call a floor person, right? They are there to make sure you are at least above the floor, right? A coach is one that pushes up your ceiling. So both people are extremely important, but one takes your person to the next level. The other one makes sure that they don't fall past your level. And everyone who gets good at a job slowly becomes a quality control person, and they become less of a ceiling pusher. Because it's a lot easier just to be like, I have these 16 things that I have to judge you on. And if you check on all 16, I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And technically your business will run. So yeah, technically if you're at 100 gyms, there's going to be a floor. Like there's going to be a minimum standard that everyone has to meet. And if I get okay with that being the standard, well, then I will have gyms that run well, and that's where we'll stay. And that's all that will be. But every single time we try to actively go up in level, we're going to need coaches to raise the ceiling. And that's where the personal sit downs and understanding and these lessons have to be taught and understood by the management staff underneath the coaches. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I equate it to I've done this before, this analogy, like breathing in and breathing out. And I think life is a lot like breathing in and breathing out. When you breathe in, just like you're lifting, you're about to push. You're gathering. You're learning. Like in a day-to-day, analysis, like you're getting ready, you're learning, you're preparing. You're not doing anything, but you're getting ready to. And then when you breathe out, you fucking push. You move. You execute. You do shit. You don't think. You don't prepare. You don't analyze. You just fucking keep executing. Keep executing. Keep executing. Eventually, you got no more air. You gotta pull it back in. Okay, you can only execute for so long until you've executed everything you know how to execute. And if you keep trying to execute past that point, you're not really going to be doing anything because you've already done everything there is to do. Mm-hmm. Okay, regroup. Now it's time to come back, learn some more shit, progress yourself some more. So ceiling pushers are the ones who help during the pullback, the breathe in part. That's what ceiling pushes are. Let's regroup, regather. What didn't go well? What did go well? What's your next step? What are you doing self-progression wise? How have you organized yourself? Okay, and then the quality control person makes sure that when you're pushing, your form is immaculate. The quality control person is the one that makes sure that you don't dot an I that doesn't belong. You don't forget a T that needs to be crossed. They're the ones that make sure that every single ounce of effort and execution that you have gets fucking put exactly where it belongs.
And they don't have to necessarily be separate people, right? I mean, the manager can be the quality control.
Correct.
And vice versa.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. In a organization that still needs every person to have multiple hats, right? You eventually you want everyone to have the ceiling pusher mindset and the quality control personality. So like that then becomes everybody's split personality eventually, But again, that all has to be educated. When you got young guns moving up, like the amount of things that people don't know blows your mind when you're a doer.
Yeah.
You have to explain, like, every year I get older, that gap becomes wider, right? Because I get another year older with another year of experiences, another lesson learned. And the things that I'm now taking for such granted, a 19-year-old not only has never heard before, they've never seen before, they've never experienced, they have literally not a molecule or atom of understanding of its potential to even exist. Mm-hmm. And not only have I known it exists, I've dealt with it, I've felt it, and I've been on the other side of it. So when I speak, I'm speaking in that term where this human doesn't even know it fucking exists. You know what I mean? Excuse me. So, you're going to have to kind of put yourself onto the level of the person you're speaking to. And I think sometimes that becomes difficult, not in the fact that, like, you have to dumb stuff down, but difficult in the fact that, like, it's not exciting for you because it's such like, when I'm teaching my daughter letters and numbers, like, I'm not excited about letters and numbers. It's not very difficult. I'm excited at her learning them and then executing and, progressing herself. But the subject matter is not it's not captivating to me. So a lot of the lessons that you're going to start teaching aren't going to be the most captivating fucking lessons for you to teach. But you shouldn't focus on that. Instead, you focus on the fact that this person just had a light bulb go off that just changed the trajectory of their entire fucking life. And it was something as simple as, do you wipe the base of the toilet when you fucking clean a toilet? Or do you just clean the rim like everybody else? No one thinks about that shit. And they're like, what do you mean? I clean the toilet. I'm like, no, what about the fucking, is that not part of the toilet?
Yeah.
And that's so, like, that is so obvious for me. If you tell me to clean the table, I don't ask you which part of the table. I will clean every part of the table I can possibly clean.
That's right.
Because no matter what, even if you only wanted me to clean the top of the table, I cover my ass by cleaning the whole fucking thing. And I know I can't be wrong. Because I've been in enough situations where I've assumed too little. I have assumed not enough. And then I got my ass chewed out for not doing enough.
Yeah.
So what's the life lesson there? Do more than you think you're being asked to do.
That's right.
And you'll always cover your ass and you'll never fucking get in trouble. You know what I mean?
That's right.
When they come in and the table is laying on its side and I'm cleaning the foot of the fucking table that's sitting on the ground, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm cleaning the table. They're like, it's good. You're done. Awesome. What's next?
Oh man, that is so true. So when I started, it was from being around here. It was from being around, Mark at Omen and everything. And so like so about a year ago, probably about a year ago, probably, I really started consistently like pushing chairs in everywhere I went and everything like this. And then I just had a buddy of mine who, he's like, you know what? I like that. I'm going to start doing that too. And so he started doing it. And he was telling me about experience. He was on a date with a girl, and he did it. And she goes, "Oh, you're so sweet." He's like, "Whoa, this is awesome. What the fuck?" You don't realize how just productive it is up until you do it.
Not only productive, but how unique it is, and how easy it is for you to become unique.
Yes.
And again, it almost gets frustrating. For example, when I'm with my daughter at a playground. And I'm always playing with her. I'm never just sitting on the fucking bench watching her play. Like, I'm always playing with her. All the fucking kids migrate to me because there's an adult on the playground. And all they ever want to do is play with their fucking parents. That's all they want. And so here's an adult playing and all the kids. And I'm looking and the parents don't even fucking notice. And I'm like, you're missing like core memories with your fucking kid. Are you tired? Yeah, I'm fucking tired too. You think I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A single father who has their 4-year-old for 5 days straight, it's a fucking lot. But it's a core memory for a human who didn't ask to be put in that fucking position. They didn't ask to get you as a fucking parent. You lazy piece of shit. It's not their fault that you're fucking tired. You spent the last 20 years eating like shit and not exercising, and now they have to pay the price because you're too fucking tired to go. You know what I mean? It's a sunny Sunday morning, and you're too tired to fucking play with your human that you created. So it bothers me, but on the other hand, it's easy, quote unquote, to win at life. It's hard work, but it's the least amount of hard work you're going to have to do. I wrote a thing on the other day. I said, the reason why people don't do the right thing is because it's fucking exhausting. The right thing to do is fucking exhausting. It is way easier to clean the top of that table than to clean the whole fucking table, right? But you know what's way more exhausting is picking up the pieces of shit that you break by not doing the right thing. Because now, not only do I have to clean the rest of the table, I have to mend the relationship with the manager who thinks I'm a lazy piece of shit. Stress number 2 for the day that I didn't expect, right? Now I have to then go schmooze up the fucking guy because he now came into this room and I'm sitting on my ass. I'm done with the table. No, you're not. Look at the sides. Oh, I'm sorry. Right? So now you have to deal with the table and you have to deal with the fucking guy who thinks you're lazy. Wouldn't it have been easier just to clean the whole fucking thing to begin with and then have a guy come in and go, well, you're going to be good. Now you're leaving the interaction with a fucking chest full of air.
That's right. Or, even if you have your room and it's dirty and it's extremely dirty, and then once a month you do a really good job cleaning it as opposed to just keeping it clean. And then when one little thing pops up, you take care of the one thing. And now you don't have to go through that whole mess again. Any
point of the day, if you want to come over to my house,
sure.
I'm not, like, I don't have to be like, hey, let me get in real quick. You could walk to every corner of my fucking house at any point of the day, and I will not be embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
My toilet's clean, my shower's clean, my clothes are picked up, my bed is made, my kitchen is clean. I could give you the keys to my house right now and not think 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I do.
So it's like, I don't have to fear a lot of interactions simply because I fucking made my bed this morning. It took me 2 fucking minutes. And now I'm avoiding a lot of negative potential interactions the rest of the day because let's say this hot chick's like, Bart, saw you on Instagram. I want to suck your dick. I'm like, oh, cool, come to my house. It's ready. You know what I mean? I don't have to be like, well, my dog is smelly right now, and so let's do it in my car. Like you don't know what you're avoiding by doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Because the right thing seems so exhausting. You're like, I'll just chill on that. And then you get infinite more bullshit to deal with. The hard thing is usually the right thing. And that's what there's a gajillion quotes about that subject. And
but and the hard thing is that, and it's the easier thing in the long term. Like you're saying, it
is the easier thing.
Like the cost of what I've realized in the past, since we've spoken is it is literally more expensive for me to do the wrong thing and make more money than it is for my conscience. It's more expensive. Like I would rather
make more money. What do you mean?
So here's an example. So my buddy and I, we have a thing where if I drink, more than once a month, I owe him $500.
Okay.
All right. And and so I ended up doing that at one point.
He's just honor system.
Yeah, it was just honor system. And he woke up to $500 in the bank. He's like, dude, you don't need to do this. Like, let's just, it would literally be more taxing on me in my conscience.
Yeah.
To not have told you or not pay you after saying, it would weigh me down to such a degree that I would rather pay the $500 because it's easier for me to pay the $500, even though that stings. Like that, losing $500 fucking sucks.
It does, but like you said, so there's a weird connection that I think I thought about it, a while ago, but have you noticed, this is going to seem off subject, but it's on subject.
Cool.
Have you noticed that as our society, debt is just inherent in your mind?
Accepted, yeah.
As accepted as you could.
It's a phenomenon almost.
If you're not in debt, it's weird.
Yeah.
And if you're not fat, you're weird. Yeah. And if you're not, right? I think that is a psychological adaptation that we have created within ourselves to be okay with lying, manipulating, being in debt, character-wise. Because if you go, I really don't want to pay him $500 fucking dollars, and I've already lied to him about this, that, or the other thing. So if I lie to him about this, it's not that big of a deal. I'll owe him without him even knowing I owe him. You know what I mean? And you carry around this moral debt everywhere you go because you're not telling them the full truth because you're trying to save their feelings. And you're not telling him the full truth because you don't want to lose $500. And you're not telling them the real truth because you're worried they won't like you. So you carry around this fucking moral debt. And it comes out in the weirdest of fucking ways. It comes out in binge drinking. It comes out in utter laziness when you're death scrolling for 3 hours. It comes out in these like serotonin based activities because your moral debt is so high that you're trying to compensate in any way you possibly can. And you can't do it in the real world because in the real world you have debt. You have a moral debt in the real world. So you have to escape to your phone, to Netflix, to porn, to fucking drinking. You got to escape because there morally is sunk to begin with. There is no morality on fucking TikTok. Right? It's just endorphin based. When you go to the bar, it is not a morally sound place. It is endorphin based. Hookup culture, binge drinking till I black out. That's endorphin based. That's not moral based. When you start telling people the truth and you start telling the honesty of what it is you think and you feel and that burden, that debt gets knocked down.
Yeah, that's right.
More and more and more and more until, let's say, you don't have a mortgage payment, you don't have a car payment, you don't have a cell phone payment. You have literally no debt at all. When you go to buy a car, do you not second guess 8,000 times whether you want to take on a car debt? You're free. You're free right now. Is that car really worth a fucking debt? But when you're in debt, my ex-wife and I did this all the time. We laughed about it. We laughed. We would buy her a car we'd buy me a car every 3 years. Every 3 years almost, we would buy a new fucking car. And, you know, her parents are like the savers. They worked at Schnucks and the other one's a teacher and they saved like millions of fucking dollars working at Schnucks. Like they spent no money. And they're like, you're never going to pay off your car. And we would laugh and be like, yeah, we're always going to have debt. Like, duh. So why not enjoy a new car every 3 years if we're never going to get out of debt? Why not just enjoy a new car? So it's the exact same concept. But when you finally free yourself of that debt, you don't want to take any on.
Yeah, I don't want to take any of it. Yeah.
Fuck no. And so morally, I think that's the same. When you run this streak of eating clean, when you run this streak of not lying to people, when you run this streak of morally undebted life, you go, listen, paying him $500 sucks, but lying to a human being forever is way too big of a debt for me to carry. Mm-hmm. There's just not enough people out of debt. And they don't get it. They don't understand it because they're like, well, I'm already fat. What's another Cheez-It?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Where a Cheez-It to me is like,
I can't do one Cheez-It, bro. I baked my daughter M&M cookies on Sunday, and then we went together and we bought ice cream and we made ice cream sandwiches, like ice cream cookie sandwiches. They're fucking awesome. I didn't have one. Not one. And it's not like I would hate myself if I ate the cookie. It's not like the end of the world if I eat the cookie. I don't get fat if I eat the cookie. I just don't eat cookies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
it's like, I don't know, dude. Not enough people, I think, are aiming to get out of moral debt.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I was telling my buddy this last night because we've mentioned that, you know, I gave up drinking for a year. And after that year of drinking, it was like so abundantly clear to me, like, oh, I don't have to do things that make me feel like shit.
Yeah.
Like and it's like, oh, that is so simple, but it took that.
That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous.
That sounds so dumb.
But that's what it took.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
I don't have to do things that hurt me.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like, no shit.
Right. And we all fucking do it to some degree, you know?
Have you heard It's Lonely at the Top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I always thought that was bullshit. And I still think it's bullshit because I think it's an excuse to a point. But what I resonate more with after it's not lonely at the top. It's just lonely when you do the right thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not our culture. Our culture puts fun on immorality, unfortunately. Now, there are pockets of people that forgo volunteering for fun and bike riding for fun. But so much of it is like when when people tell me you just got to live a little, it always is towards something that's for sure killing me. Which is the most ironic thing on the fucking, you got to live a little, have an alcoholic drink. You got to live a little, eat that poison. You got to live a little, have some promiscuous sex. Like, you got to live a little. Like, all those things are, minus the sex part. Sex is awesome. But everything else, like, it'll fucking kill you, dude. And I don't know why that is, man. I don't know why it is. I don't know why not poisoning myself is weird. Why am I weird for not poisoning myself? Why is it weird to not be fat? Why is it okay to shame people who are healthy? Like, what the fuck is going on? I am actively not putting chemicals to make rubber bands into my body, and somehow I'm the fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? So I can only assume it's because misery loves company. And unfortunately, as misery has grown, the company has grown with it. And at a 73% obese rate, at an extremely low education rate.
Debt to your eyeballs.
I mean, no way you're getting out of debt. Yeah. There's just no fucking way. You're not taking on a $300,000 house at 7% for 30 years and getting out of that shit because you're still paying student loans off that's ended 20 years ago. And the car that you have to have because the technology, you know what I mean? Like, we're just not set up to thrive. This is not a thriving environment. I haven't traveled the world. I don't know how other cultures are currently. I traveled to Poland when I was a young kid a lot, and life was a lot more fun because people were a lot more hands off back then, but that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So all you can do, though, is just be okay with being weird. And that, like, somber loneliness that ends up happening is, like, part of the process. And I think it's almost a sign that you're in the right fucking direction.
Yeah, I think the trickiest part about that is, like, am I fucking crazy or not?
Yeah.
How the fuck do I know if I'm actually crazy or if...
I think at a point you just stop giving a shit if you're crazy.
Yeah.
Especially because there's no fear of being crazy now. Because, like, back in the day when you were crazy, you got put in a loony bin. But now you can run for president. So it's like...
Now you can put a wig on and just
you got your own litter box to pee in at school. So it's like you don't really have to be afraid of it anymore. Like, crazy is kind of the normal now. It's just being normal is crazy. And, so be it. But I think too many people start feeling that way and they go, I can't stay in this. I gotta get back in the group.
Yeah.
I can't. Like with that Andy thing, everyone, the moment it happened, just jumped on this hate train, like one I've never seen before.
Really strange, yeah.
And it's just groupthink, If there's a certain part of the population that feels a certain way about something, they're waiting for their time to strike for it to be socially acceptable to feel that way. So if you've got nerds and crazy people thinking that they need to walk around with tails and shit, you're just waiting for your fucking time to shine, You're in the darkness until one day one person's like, you know what's kind of cool to walk around with like a tail and like rabbit ears. And then you're like, fuck yeah.
Oh.
Me too. I love wearing rabbit ears and a tail. Like, you do too. It's actually cool to do that. Let's all get together and
let's not shower for 3 weeks beforehand.
Yeah, dude. Like if I'm socially odd, if I don't. They did this on Netflix. There's this documentary on the group Anonymous.
Okay.
You heard?
No.
You don't know Anonymous?
Not like the hacker group.
The hacker group.
Yeah.
So it's called the antisocial experiment.
Okay.
Like the antisocial experiment. And so they follow Anonymous, how it's made, how 4chan and 2chan, like these are these message board groups on the internet, and you would be anonymous on this message board, and just people just created the craziest fucking memes, and they were racist and sexist, but because there was no names tied to anything, it was like free for all, and everyone loved it. And they all felt like a community. And it was so weird to like watch because like these people are talking in real time where they all became friends on this 4chan basically it's a message board. It's literally a page, and then there's squares, and each square represents a text box or like a dialogue board. And then you would click on it, and then you'd have your avatar of whatever the fuck you'd call yourself. The leader of the whole thing was called Moot, M-O-O-T. And you would post some racist shit that was funny. And then everyone would just like, oh my God, it's so funny. And then then you'd be the king of the message board with your Moot, and they're like, we're a community. We support each other. We're together. Like we get each other. It's okay to be odd and weird. And then they decided to all like meet at like a cosplay convention. So this whole 4chan group of derelicts, they were hackers that lived in, and this is not me stereotyping. Watch the documentary. It's like the 4 biggest ones literally lived in basements of their parents' house. Like, this is not a stereotype. They got arrested. There's a long thing. You should watch it. But they got arrested out of their parents' fucking basements. Because when they started meeting in person, they started doing all this racist and sexist shit in person. And then it just became awful because all these things that were funny on the internet, when you place them in the real world, are very, very wrong. Very wrong. They would dress up like black guys or rabbis. I can't remember, but they would wear like all black suits with like fro wigs. And they would go into city centers and make swastikas out of themselves. And they thought that was fucking funny, And then these leaders of this group are like, what the fuck is happening? People are doing like zig high and shit as a group.
So was it were the leaders also doing this, or were they like watching as this expanded?
They were watching.
Oh, interesting.
I have created a monster.
Interesting.
And they were like the leaders, and they're like, we didn't tell you to make swastikas. We didn't tell you to be racist. Like, they would go to pools and like kick black people out of it. But they weren't racist. They thought being racist was funny. On the internet, when you don't have a name connected to your fucking meme, everyone thinks it's hilarious. When you go in the real world and you start doing this shit, you go, you're not a community.
Yep.
And again, that's why all this depression and shit is happening, is because all these people have 7,000 friends on Instagram, and they go out in the real world and they don't have a single person to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they make people that have their shit together feel fucking weird. It's not okay to shame a 400-pound person for being 400 pounds, but it's okay to make fun of the guy who's intense all the time about his health and goes to the gym every day and has energy and, what's that bald-headed dude who's like a motivational speaker that like teaches salesmen how to sell?
Andy Elliott.
The amount of shit I've heard.
Dude, I fuck with Andy Elliott.
Everyone makes fun of that fucking guy. And I'm like, what are you making fun of? A dude who's in shape, promoting, like, it's extreme and manly and blah, blah, blah. Like, as opposed to the other side.
It's right. Or what are there are these camps you can go to where it's like you take Navy SEALs and they put you through
retreat camps.
Men's retreat, and then everyone
making fun of these shit.
And at the same time we're being told, men, either start showing your emotions or don't show your emotions. Whatever. I mean, I don't even know what the fuck to listen to anymore.
Dude, it's exactly right. It's exactly right. So, hey, I don't have any male friends, and I don't really get to do a lot of manly shit. So I'm gonna pay $5,000 and go to the Grand Canyon with these other men, and there's gonna be other dudes who were the coaches I never had, or the dad I never had, and they're gonna put me through some hard shit. Oh, I'm gonna pay $5,000 to do up downs in the fucking mountains.
Right, go join the army if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 47 years old. I'm not joining the fucking army, bro. Like, what? And it's always the unhappy people saying that shit. Happy people don't talk shit.
That's right.
Dude.
That's right.
Happy people just fucking enjoy being happy.
They're out doing shit.
Yeah, dude. And so we've put so much emphasis, again, on the 73% of people who are fat, on the mass majority who are slowly unable to pay their bills because of inflation and all this bullshit that we're dealing with. Like, we're putting the emphasis on the ones who can't seem to figure it the fuck out. And I said this a long fucking time ago, is the moment we started making rules for the minority, not minorities, okay, I'm not saying anything racist. I'm saying when the small part of the group gets to make the rules for the large part of the group, you're going to screw up the majority of the people.
Yeah, no doubt.
If the one person benefits and the other 99 get screwed up, they're not going to produce very good results because one can never outdo what 99 can do. So give the 99 what they need in order to do as good as they can, and hopefully they will help along the one who can't. But if you just make all the rules to help the 99 suffer, and then you bring the entire standard down to what the 1 can do, which will never be as much as 99. I don't care who the individual is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how we got there, but here we are.
I was just thinking, I don't even know where the fuck we
I don't
went.
know, but I like it.
That's fucking sick.
It was one of my favorite episodes I think ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
I
That's
just
great.
feel like we hit a lot of good points. We talked a lot about some real shit. Do you feel better about anything? What's your takeaway from today, son?
Takeaway from today? You know what? I'm just my takeaway today maybe isn't even from the episode necessarily, and I know that's kind
Go
of
for it.
counter.
No, I want to hear. Let me hear your thoughts.
But it's my takeaway is just it's good to be back around you. I'm really grateful for you and glad to be back in this environment. It's a fucking great environment.
Thanks for saying that. That's cool. I enjoy this. I never have a topic whenever we come in. I'm sure I'd be a better host if I actually thought about something to talk about before we started talking.
Yeah, we haven't had a topic for like the last 10 episodes.
I don't know, dude. I just think that sometimes if you have a topic, I think your average will be higher.
Yeah.
Right? You're better prepared, and so the average episode will be higher. I also think that magic happens when you don't have anything planned.
Yeah.
And your ability to have those ones that fucking hit, like I believe today did, it's just because it's two organic energies interacting.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So find another zero. If you waited this long till the end of the episode, let me at least explain what the title is about. Find Another Zero came out a couple episodes ago, where basically we suck at life when we get born. Like we can't do anything. And then your whole life is to try to become more comfortable with life by learning some sort of skill or skill set. And as you get older, let's say you're 70% shitty, 30% good at something. And then it goes 50-50 where like the pain and the pleasure are about the same. And then eventually you go 80-20 where you're 80% good, 20% shit. You stall out at about 90-10. Maybe even you get 95-5. Most people stop right there. If they get there, that's where they stop. And they never, ever allow themselves to be bad at anything ever again. They never try anything ever again. They never allow the world to see them struggle ever again. Just like a 30-year-old and up doesn't fucking sprint ever again.
Yeah.
A fucking person gets good at something and failure, they will never feel that failure again. Well, if you want to keep progressing in life, you have to keep finding another zero. Something that you will absolutely fuck up at. You're going to look like shit. You're going to be embarrassed. But every single 5% you go up, that is the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth thing you come proficient at. And let me ask you, the people that you are following, I'm sure have done that more times than you can count.
That's right.
So always try to go out there and find another zero. All right? Bye!